Hi everyone, welcome back to Cute Nerdy DIY. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this kawaii DIY door hanger. Today's shout out goes to Bethany Marie. Thank you Bethany for all the support and welcome to the family. If you'd like to be featured in the next shout out, then just comment with the hashtag Cute Nerdy Family. So this is a little bit different from what I've done before, but I wanted to do things other than squishies on the channel, although this is still technically a squishy. So what I had was this leftover piece of memory foam and I kind of wanted to do something different with it. So I was kind of going into this DIY blind. I didn't really know what I was doing, I was just kind of making it up as I went along. But what I basically did was I drew this rectangle on with pencil and then started to cut out a hole in the middle of the squishy. So once that was all cut out, as you can see, there's kind of a little like indent in it, and I also rounded all the corners off. So the next step was to paint this squishy. And what I used was my normal mixture of acrylic paint, PVA glue and shaving foam. So once I'd mixed loads of this up, it was basically a case of painting the whole thing in white paint. So for this I did use a paintbrush because I had to get into these really weird angles, and I used this for I think the first and second layer, and then after that I used the lollipop stick. So as you may have noticed, I've not been uploading as much recently. I am actually currently writing my dissertation for my degree, so that's due in a week's time, and so I'm not going to be able to get as many videos out for the next week, but once that's done I'm going to be on with a better schedule, so there'll be a lot more uploads. But obviously that's very important, so I've got to make sure that I try my best to get a good grade and not fail. But yeah, that's kind of why I've not been uploading this week. I just thought I'd let you know, just so that you didn't think that I was just disappearing and didn't want to upload. So once that's done, you need to leave that to dry and then add another layer. The next step is to then choose the colour that you want to use for the base of the cake. So for this I decided to go with pink, and then for the icing on the top I thought I'd go with white. So as you can see, just make the normal mixture that I've made for the other layers, which is acrylic paint, PVA glue and shaving foam, and then mix it all together. So as the paint tends to dry a little bit darker than you see here, I added some white paint to make sure that I made the paint a bit lighter. And then once you've got your colour, all you have to do is get your lollipop stick or popsicle stick and just spread the paint on. So for this, basically what you want to do is go around all the outside and cover the whole thing pink. I also painted the back in this colour as well, but just make sure you get a really good thick layer. And the one thing to note is that the inside square, well, rectangle that we cut out, that actually doesn't matter what colour it's painted because you won't see that in the final result. So here it is once it's dried. I did add another layer just to make sure that it was squishier and it wasn't just like the sponge, and as you can see that worked. So the next step, I got my white mixture and then I tried to put some like drizzle on it, a bit like you would if you were making a cupcake. Now, like I said before, this DIY was kind of a complete spur of the moment, and I was just kind of making it up as I went along, so I didn't really know what the end result was going to look like, but I think that was quite exciting. So as I was doing this, I found out that I am really bad at doing drizzles, so that's definitely something I need to practice because these looked so bad. I did fix them later on, luckily, so they don't look as bad in the end, but yeah, these were quite difficult to do. They were more difficult than I thought, but all I'm doing here is covering the top half in the drizzle and leaving the bottom half pink. So annoyingly, my camera didn't record the next step, which is really annoying, but basically all I did before the paint dried, I sprinkled a load of these like tiny little beads onto the icing to make it look like sprinkles, and basically then they just stuck on because there's obviously glue in the paint. So for the next step, what I got was a really cheap whiteboard. Now it has to be one that has a cardboard back unless it's already the right size to fit into your squishy. So the reason it needs to be cardboard is because we need to cut the rectangle out and measure it to make sure it fits into the middle of the squishy. The good thing about this is these whiteboards are super cheap. I think mine was like 99p or something, so you don't need to spend much money at all making this DIY. The next step was basically just measuring up and cutting the cardboard into the shape to fit into the squishy. You won't need to use any glue for this part because luckily it just fits in fine, and then the next step is to hide all the horrible gaps around the edge. So what I decided to use for this was some puffy paint just because I quite like the colour. You could probably get away with using any glue really, just make sure it's in a thick layer. Now I only had to do one layer of this. I did decide to go with yellow because I thought it'd look nice, but basically all it did was a really good job of covering up all the gaps. Finally, all you need to do is take a piece of string. Now this bit was the bit that was originally hanging the whiteboard up, so all I did was take that off, and then basically all you need to do is get some glue. Now I used my fabric glue that I use for sticking bits of squishy onto squishy, and this stuff's really cheap, like I think mine was $3.99 but lasts for so long. And all you need to do is glue the two bits down, and then you need to hold them in place for a bit just so that the glue bonds properly, and then the glue is really strong. So here it is all complete, and as you can see it hangs really well. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, and I'm kind of surprised to be honest because I really didn't know what I was creating the whole time. But yeah, it's actually quite cool, and it still squishes, which is really cool, and you can hang it on your door or somewhere in your bedroom, and you can write little notes on it as a kind of like reminder and stuff like that. But yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, even though it's a little bit different from normal. I will be back to squishies very soon, but thank you for watching, and I really appreciate all your support, and I'll see you in the next video.